out on your support for Bernie in the 2020 election?
Yeah, absolutely. That I'm glad you guys called.
Feel the burn!
Absolutely. And as long as you're a registered Democrat.
Okay. Because I use my wife's email address, so it's yeah. Do you need a mailing address or?
Okay. I can take that as well.
Okay, so I pick up mail at my parents' house. Their address is.
Your mom's gonna love it.
So here's. Tales from a Ditch, here with Seth and Sean, back at it again with the white vans. And that's vans with wheels that have drugs in them.
Yeah, white vans.
Yeah, plural vehicles.
No windows. Bars on the windows. So this is the first time it's been just me and you in a long time.
Yeah, first time we haven't had a guest, and we're jumping right into socialism and government. And you know what? There's something. Got to talk to a Bernie Sanders supporter. The funny thing is, I think my parents do, I think they believe I'm a Democrat. I'm actually not. I'm really not. I am registered nonpartisan, and I'm actually, on some of the issues they agree with, I'm like, I actually agree with them on some stuff. So, but that lady was so nice. At least, because here's the thing. She will be sending it to a real mailing address. She will be sending out the email. And, at least I'll say this, as much as I think the system is corrupt and a lot of it's a joke, she's passionate about something. I mean, I'm happy for that, I guess. I don't know.
I didn't think she was mean like the person that I talked to about Jonathan Edwards. Yeah,
well, he was. Yeah, I'm not a fan of him when stuff came out. Even my last name, do you know, she found a way to connect. She goes, yeah, and I understand not marrying a Smith. She goes, I have a longer name. I was like, oh, yeah, because I say that and it's just, usually they're like, oh, well, that's a weird, she goes, no. And even it wasn't canned. I'm like, is that the slogan he's going with again? She's like, I don't know. She goes, I'm still feeling the bird. I was like, good for you.
I know.
Because she leaned into it. I've had some calls where they're just, and it's not,
angry.
It's not just one party. I've had conservatives call me who are super nice. I've had our ones who are jerks. Mm-hmm. And I've had Democrats like her call me. And then I think I had one call for Clinton where I was like, you're really abrasive. Like, legitimately, I go, how, you think I'm going to support you? Yeah. Like, people are so relational. I will say this. I've never had a rude, nonpartisan or libertarian call. Because they don't make those. They don't call. They go, well, it's none of our business. You do what you're going to do. Like, you want to be gay and guard your weed crops with guns? That's your business.
Do it.
All right. Did you record some of that?
Yeah, I think I recorded most of it.
We'll
use that for the beginning.
If we can just bleep out the address and email. No. How about just the email?
Not happening.
But the address stays on there. I cannot wait till my mom calls and it's like, so.
We got your mail.
No, I'm like, oh, good. I was like, I can't wait to meet him. I'm like, you know what? I go,
I'm so verklempt.
I'm like, he said God in one of his speeches. I think he's a Christian. But I feel like I was
super nice.
I was trying to be. I was like,
surprised.
I was like, I want to cause trouble, but I don't want to be rude because she really is. She's at a center making calls. Like,
you know what? You sacrificed entertainment for positivity and a righteous outlook.
A real American hero.
Yeah. Real decent of you.
She didn't, right in the beginning though, she didn't fall for anything. I was like, what's this in regards to? I didn't say it was me, and she just is all, it's him. Starts in, and I was like, okay. I'll say this though. You know what's one thing, all right, this probably isn't going to be popular with some people. Even though I don't see the world like he does at all, I still liked Bernie more than Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
I
like Bernie more than Hillary or Trump.
Well,
I like how he's going to reverse everything.
Did you see the SNL? He said, my new slogan is burn this place down.
Yeah, what's great about him is so he's the only one that tackles issues that I really care about, which are, the campaign finance and corruption.
He's not a fan of
that. And all the gerrymandering and everything. The electoral college being ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't care about his socialism or whatever, because honestly,
public school socialist.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of socialism that I partake in and look the other way just because I have to. So I'm not too worried about that. Because I do feel like once you abolish these barriers to your vote actually mattering, then you can actually elect or at least participate in electing somebody that you can think could actually do good. If there was no campaign finance system, think of the different candidates you would have.
Oh my gosh.
You would have candidates that aren't all from the same schools and aren't all raised to be president by dynasties that exist in the United States. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You could, well, all right. If you think of it this way, if everyone believes being a pastor is a guarantee to make millions of dollars, you're going to attract certain people. If you say, oh, no, you're only going to make 40 grand a year, the only people who are going to go after it are those who really want to be pastor.
Exactly.
Because they go, well, I don't want to do that. Well, will I get a book deal? No. Oh, well, why would I want? Then you're really only going to get guys who go, okay, well, I really love the people. Okay, I'll do it. And they'll figure it out because it's campaign finance. I liked Evan McMullen. He almost, I don't know if he did, he almost stole Utah actually, which is surprising because he was a guy who was he was like, no, I just want solutions. He was pro-life, but then had different views on refugees and stuff. There was a guy, didn't get support. The Libertarians were picking their candidate, like who's going to be our representative, or what is it when they win? When they say, okay.
Yeah, the primary?
Yeah, when they win it, what do they call it? They say this is not just our candidate. Oh, nominee.
Oh, yeah.
Our nominee. They were picking nominees, and this guy was pro-life, wanted to let, if they want to, any private citizen who wants to bring in a refugee, fine, but we're still going to bulk up security. We dismantle a lot of these systems, change the education system, help veterans. What was it? Give more freedom to religious institutions, but there was all this stuff where he was like trying to really be like, no, let people have liberty. He didn't like the Electoral College. He wanted to have government out of marriage. All this stuff. And who'd he lose to? Gary Johnson. They said, no, that's our nominee, which it's funny because if you look at him, I'm not trying to be a dick, but at any of the debates he was at, Gary Johnson bombed. Yeah. They would like ask him, they go, what do you think about this? He goes, about what? And they say it. He's like, where's that? They go, that's in Syria. He goes, oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, wait. And he blew, and it was multiple interviews. And the other guy like would tweet, he goes, I wouldn't have done that if you had picked me. And seriously, they didn't, it was crazy because even his pro-life stuff, he was like, I can tell you why as a libertarian you should be pro-life.
Yeah.
He goes, but it's for every life and any, I was like, but of course they didn't pick. All the guys I like never get supported and no one likes him but me. And everyone goes, well, he's never going to win. I go, yeah, well, I can look myself in the mirror at least. So
that's the thing though, is I feel like if there wasn't this financed election where you straight up raise money to get elected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where you are taking deals to be able to fund your campaign because that's the only way that you can get your name out there. If that wasn't the case, it'd be less of a two-party system.
Yes.
And I think people's opinions like you that are less popular, you'd have maybe more of a chance of getting somebody in there because I think a lot of people think that way, but they just think there's nothing I can do about it, so I might as well vote for a winner instead of vote in the loser or vote in the person I don't want by not voting or whatever. When all of that is such an illusionary lie. Anyways, my point is that like if there wasn't that campaign finance system, I think a lot more probably moderate but also logical candidates would be able to at least be voted for. You know what I mean?
Oh my
none of that nominee stuff, none of that representational stuff. That is like 1700 stuff where like you don't have a fast enough vehicle with your horses and your carriages. So you have to do this electoral college. We're past that now.
Yeah.
And actually, I was talking to somebody, my cousin actually, who wants to be not the cousin that's been on this podcast. She wants to be a lobbyist.
Okay.
For a living. And I was like, why? What's wrong with you? Like, what happened to you? But she is convinced that the system works this way, that lobbyists and super PACs and things like that actually work to keep idiots from being in office, right? Like, yeah, like it keeps people from appealing to the common man because the common man can't necessarily be trusted. So we have to leave it to our representatives who are educated and who understand better than the common man in order to get somebody elected. And that's how the free market handles this process. And I am not okay with that. I am 100% opposed to that. I think lobbying should be illegal.
So it is interesting how pragmatic we get with voting, where we go, yeah, I don't fully agree with this guy, and yeah, I feel like I'm compromising a little, and yeah, this and this and this, but he's most likely to win, and blah, 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 blah. We have all these justifications, and well, he'll do this and that, which, by the way, if you say it that way, that's the ends justify the means. That's what it is. Even if you say, well, you gotta think of the greater good, the lesser two evils, that's ends justify the means, because it's results-based ethics. The other thing is, the Electoral College is basically this idea that poor people and normal people are too stupid. So we need to have these safeguards in place, which gave us so many of the same families, the Bushes, the Clintons, Trump now. It didn't stop corruption. It hasn't, how long have we been in wars now? The past 20 years? It hasn't stopped war. It hasn't prevented recession. So this whole idea of, well, these dumb poor people, and I go, really? Because that's what's ruining this country? Like, the banks crashed. Like, all right, perfect example. 9/11 didn't happen because of poor people. I don't believe the Great Depression, was that because of lower income people? I don't remember that world.
No, I don't think so.
All this, the industrial complex, all this, I see all these issues of even the housing market. They go, well, these people took out loans, that they couldn't afford. I go, who gave them the loans? The banks.
Yeah, and who made money off it?
Yeah, who made money? It's funny how many guys were against marijuana, senators and governors, and now those same guys have invested money in dispensaries or in making it legal, getting the tax money, and then I don't know. It just, I say get rid of the Electoral College, do we really believe, all right, you brought this up, so get rid of the Electoral College, but campaign donors, you think they're just giving you money out of the goodness of their heart?
Yeah.
Like, really?
They believe.
You think a corporation's like, oh, we're giving you like 10 mil, but no, we don't want any favors. Do we really think that? And people go, oh yeah, that's probably what's happening. Well, no. If you acknowledge that, your candidates have been bought. You're okay with that? It's like when someone says, well, I heard this, I think 9/11 is an inside job. And I go, why do you vote then? And he's all, what do you mean? I'm like, you think your government purposely slaughtered 3,000 people for money.
Yeah.
Why would you vote for them or trust them? And he's like, well, no. I think it was both parties who were in on it. I'm all, even more so. That means whoever you vote for was in on murder. Why do you trust them? And it's like, I don't know.
Because here's the thing, like, it's a systematic problem, right?
Yeah.
It's like somebody will say, this is what our government teacher used to say, well, if you want to change it, you have to be part of it long enough that you can change it. And it's like, no, you don't understand. Because of the systemic problems, I can't be a part of it enough to be able to change it.
Yeah.
There's barriers in place. It's the same thing with like the current like racial problems that we're having in the United States.
Yeah.
A lot of white people are saying, I swear I'm not a racist, or at least I don't hate black people.
Yeah.
But the appeal of the Black Lives Matter 2 movement was like, hey, there are systemic things that we need to remove in order to actually create true, honest equality. And nobody's willing to admit that. It's the same with voting. I probably shouldn't compare the two, but it's just as frustrating when people don't realize like, no, the system needs to be blown up and started over or fixed or something.
Well, why do this is okay, to bring it back to Christians. Okay. I understand, at least logically I do. I understand the idea of, okay, I see policies, I see stuff I don't like politically. So I want someone who is going to change that, who wants the same changes as me. Like, logically at least. I get it in theory of, I don't like abortion, so I want to vote for someone else who doesn't like abortion who will stop it. I get the ABC logic. Okay. Looking, though, at how it's gone with presidents and our system and laws, where do Americans get such confidence that voting is just this game changer and fixes things? And where do I wonder why American Christians so much. I'm not like, and I'm only one step away from you, Sean. Like, I get why you would want to participate in something or be active or at least be informed. But why are they so bought in to politics as like this source of power that's what's going to change, that's what's going to do things? Because culture war aside of like, okay, well, we need to change the culture, we need to do that, because that's a different debate. I feel like that goes down another rabbit trail. But why is there such buy-in of like, well, politics, that's how you do stuff? When, here's a funny example I think about. Under Obama, pro-choice president, super pro-choice. Not as much as Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. No one really is. Cause they're like, yeah, they're there, but, abortion went down 12%.
Yeah.
And that wasn't with a Supreme Court that had, Gorsuch, I think is how you say his name, or Kavanaugh, and it went down 12%. And you go, wait, what? And here's what people said. Some debate if it was contraception, whatever they debated. Others brought up there was all these grassroots movements of crisis pregnancy and people adopting, and that actually the president didn't have as much power as I think. So I'm wondering, like, what do you think, Sean? Why is it Christianity like such buy-in that politics will do so much? Where's that confidence from if you look at the history of it? Like, and if I look at other countries, I don't know if there's another country that the Christians are so solid, like such solidarity, where they're behind one party with not just their loyalty, but registered to, official member of, like, you know, hey, whether it's Democrat or Republican, like, I'm a proud Republican, I'm registered, I'm you know, member of this party. They are bought in like 100%. I'll defend it. I believe it. I espouse it. I have all the arguments for it. I listen to pundits from it. Like, can you think of another country where the Christian population is that bought in, where literally they're a voting bloc where they go, we know we can count on Christians to vote for us every year, this percentage, and they're a group we go after because they're guaranteed. They have this like fierce loyal. I mean, where else? I don't see. I see it split in some places, but
I mean, I see the UK, but they have several parties.
I feel like they're more split. Yeah, they're more.
But
split.
I do see the theologians like being behind a party, even like a party that's like hoping for like a theocratic monarchy. But again, there's like 45 parties, you know, that you can be a part of. So I don't know necessarily, but I never hear anybody saying, get out to be part of parliament. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Do they define themselves as strongly as Americans by it though? I mean, it's like because I feel like we're fanatical. Like,
yeah,
because I was told, like, if you don't vote Republican, like, well, are you even a Christian?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Where do you think so the first question, the faith in it. Why do you think, not just Christians, because it's not just us, it's Americans too. Why is it such a thought of like, well, voting's the thing that's going to fix it?
No, did that start with Constantine?
You know?
I think that, didn't he kind of politicize it a little bit? I mean, not hoping that it would be the way that it is now, but it became kind of the state religion, right? At some point. Well,
this is why I wonder though, but like he wasn't democratically elected, was he? Was he? Maybe.
I don't think so.
Because I understand saying, hey, I believe if this dude who agrees with everything I do physically takes over and takes power, I'd go, yeah, I believe that'll happen.
No, yeah.
But vote like,
and so that, I don't know. But I think that's what it is there's like this amount of comfort that people experience or read about having experienced, and we don't have that right now. And we're constantly trying to get back to that. The truth of the matter is that it was never comfortable and it was never a good situation. But we think we have those rose-colored glasses when we look backwards and we think it's always better. My grandparents think it was better in the 60s. I don't think it was. I think the 60s was stupid. I think the Cars were stupid. I think the doo-wop music was stupid. I don't like anything about the 60s, really.
It was probably if you look like me, the 60s were probably rad. If you were in Alabama...
I don't think so. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. Even
Shay wouldn't have been allowed to marry his wife.
Oh, I know.
He would have been knocking dudes out. Because Nathan Dupree and I couldn't walk down the street in Alabama in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like drinking the same beer.
Yeah. It's not that cool.
Yeah.
The 60s aren't cool. The 20s and 30s were definitely not cool with the flappers.
That,
and
regardless
the
of
modernism.
race, I think was stupid. Those hats
so
were
terrible.
They looked like bad bowls of soup for hats. They're like, hey,
Super
look,
dumb.
I do heroin. I'm 20 pounds and I'm wearing a dress that doesn't fit. Hey, look, I'm going to pretend to be rich to get a girl who's terrible.
And
Shut
part
up,
of the-
Gatsby.
I'm not talking poorly about democracy.
I am.
Because I think democracy is excellent. I think voting is excellent.
Do
I
we
just don't
have a
think we have a
democracy?
democracy.
Yeah.
No, we have an oligarchy. We have a representational system that's represented by the wealthy and influential.
What is the argument against? Okay, because I know I'm saying it's because I hate poor people. What would they say is the argument against a popular vote?
They being the oligarchy.
I try to be fair. The people who support the electoral college. What do you think their argument would be against a popular vote?
Oh, they'd probably say something like, well, we just want to move back to a time of success.
Rutherford over here.
And what's unsaid is a time when they had slaves, essentially, or servants, low-paid servants. They want to move back to a time when they were never challenged to think progressively because they were able to live in comfort without that challenge. And it was easy to get rich. It was super easy to get rich if you were already rich. Now it's a little, well, I don't know if it's easier or harder to get rich, but now at least you're under more scrutiny because information travels better now.
This is the thing I kind of wrestle with because I feel like Americans don't like, well, not all Americans. Sometimes we want a black and white instead of a nuanced kind of like paradoxical thing. I think there were moments of greatness in America's history where I went, yeah, like World War II, I think we need to be involved. I absolutely think we need to be involved. Like, fine. But I don't know if there was a golden era because even like, all right, if you look at era where you say, okay, well, we just won the Civil War, and you go, well, but there's still not a lot of vaccinations, and there's people dying of infection from the war, and you just lost all these soldiers who were brothers who died, and it's like, well, the slaves got freed. And I go, yeah, and that's good. That's a good thing. But this is going on, and we're still trying to figure out, like, is it legal to hit your wife and stuff like that? But you can be complex and hold things in both hands. I can say, hey, look, we had the moon launch, but we're still wrestling with this drug epidemic. Oh, we have really great cancer research facilities. Cool. That is greatness. That is good. We're basing this principle, on, to oppose disease. Okay. We have the AIDS epidemic though. Or you can say, oh, great, adoption's on the rise. That I can commend that. That is what, is a part of what's great about America. Oh, but abortion is up. It's like, so it depends on the thing, whereas like, I think it's principle and practice sometimes too. Like, there are principles of America I really like that I go, yeah, the idea of it. But in practice, a lot of the time we don't do that. Like, it was weird. If you read the Constitution and some of their writings, some of the other ones too, in principle, it's like, oh, all men, are made equal, blah, blah, blah. And you go, oh, cool. And he goes, and then he refers to Native Americans as savages. And you go, huh. So there was kind of a disconnect between, I can say some of the ideas in theory were great. The principles of like, yeah, I like the idea that before God, that defines men's value.
Yes,
I can affirm that.
Yeah.
But then when I look at the practice, I go, hey, Jefferson, well, stop sleeping with your slaves. And then, denying them in public, it's just, well, he took care of them. I go, I don't care. Like, even the idea of like, Lincoln, he eventually cared about slaves, but originally in the beginning, he didn't so much. Now, does that mean I hate him? No, I can still look at good things.
Totally.
He
did great stuff, but he still didn't really like black people.
I don't know that he did. John Calvin's like that with me. I go,
yeah.
Do I think he's a brother? Yeah. I don't know about him torturing that heretic, being part of that, and some of the views and stuff, and some of his writings on law and other stuff. But why can't he be a complex person? I don't agree with everything C.S. Lewis says, and I love the guy.
Yeah.
I love C.S. Lewis. I think he's fantastic. But
so, like, there's the Ayn Rand kind of perspective that I think.
Atlas Shrugged lady.
Yeah, Atlas Shrugged. I believe that ultimately she thought that if the system was correct, that there's this kind of underlying good in people, right? That the system can take care of itself, and that socialism was removing any opportunity for people to display their ultimate goodness that's inside of them.
Oh, their agency and their... Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's what I disagree with. I believe that left to their own plans without any hindrances, people are terrible. And some people maybe are worse than other people. But I believe if it was this perfect system, right? This perfect capitalist democratic system, a totally perfect libertarian system, right? Think about that. You're left to your own demises, and you do whatever you want on your land, and you earn that land, and you can choose to make corn on that land and feed your family through the winter, or you can choose to be lazy and attrition will get you, right?
Yeah, okay.
The problem is, even the people who grow corn and did a good job are still at risk from being assaulted and robbed from the people that can arm themselves better, or that put more value into arming themselves, right? Or that are just straight tougher based on genetics or whatever, or craftiness, or their ability to invent some weapon that kills people in their farm while you eat their corn or something like that. And what I believe is that will eventually happen because people are freaking awful. And I don't think you need much more than the past 100 years, 200 years, 300 years to prove it. But if you keep going back thousands of years, or even millions of years, if you believe in that, then yeah, people are awful. They're just trying to
with bastard filling.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're just trying to survive. Yeah. So you can't fault them, but that doesn't mean that if you're on the other side of that equation, you're going to be happy about it or feel like they're being good.
No.
There's not a whole lot of honor out there. And so I do believe that whether you have a perfect system or not, that man left to his own devices is going to do the right thing. There's always going to be this struggle. And I think that my eschatology probably leads me to believe that that's not going to change until, the souls of men are all, sent to one place or another. But even if I am optimistic about it, right? Even during some times which were the most optimistic times in history, when God's people had this perfect monarchy set up by God, the best king you could possibly have, it was still a freaking mess, Yeah.
That there's two things I think going with what you said. So one, I don't think Christians were supposed to come in and give a version of Christianity. Like say, oh, here's the Republican version, the Democrat version, basically join the party, assimilate and go, well, I'm a Republican Christian. It's like I'm a conservatized, like I've been, assimilated. Like it's a version of Christianity where it's, it's slowly integrated. It's a Christian who's, covered themselves in the flag and the red hat. And it's like, okay, now I'm a Republican Christian. I think, is that making sense?
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't want, when I have sushi, I just want sushi presented to me, not a sushi of, well, this is sushi, but covered in this, covered in this, covered in that, covered in this and this and this and this. I go,
this is the impossible meat or whatever.
Which basically is now, okay, it's a version of, it's sushi-ish. I think we are supposed to come in as ambassadors of a foreign nation with a sense of authority, a perfect minority, and say, no, we're going to speak truth to power. Here's a better story. Here's a better way. No, here's what we say the policy should be. Not just lobby, not just say, oh, we want this and kind of cave or accept whatever they give us. Like not just say, well, we're pro-life and they go, okay, we'll stop abortion or maybe we'll pass a law and we go, okay, we accept your terms, blah, blah, blah. No, literally say our ethics, our execution, our not just the view, but how you execute the view. Come in. And I don't think we did that. I don't think we came in with a better story. The other thing is this. I think it's okay to say, I kind of lean this way or certain things appeal to me, but I don't think a Christian should be totally sold on any group or party like me. I definitely sympathize with some of the libertarian ideas of liberty and agency. I kind of go, yeah, leave people alone. Government does not make things better. They don't help things. They make a mess of it, actually. But I'm not so bought in of like, all right, I have to defend every position. It's the solution. It's the fix. That's why I'll say I'm libertarian-ish on some things. It's kind of a spectrum of things. Yeah, like I agree with them on a lot of things. But they're not fully going to ever satisfy anything because it's still a human outside of biblical tradition answer. Now, some people will say, no. If you look at scripture, it's clearly, if you follow libertarian principles line up, blah, blah. But even then, I feel like they have a lean. But I don't think you should be sold out. I'll put my cards on the table and say, yeah, I have a little lean, a nonpartisan lean, kind of anti-establishment. I'm more distrusting of big structures, more libertarian-ish. But I don't think it's the fix, and that's why I'm more nonpartisan. I would say with you, Sean, it's okay to have a lean, and I don't feel like you're totally sold to everything, where you feel like you have to defend anarchy, but you definitely, to me, I feel like your lean is more anti-authority, more, I don't necessarily trust these structures, and you don't seem to, when you talk about voting, the current structure, you don't come across as idealistic to me, or naive. You're like, no, people are terrible and they suck and they do awful things. But I think there's a difference between having a lean of this appeals to me, versus, no, I am 100% this party and I'm reading this into this. And it almost seems like now when they look at their scripture, it's through the lens of their politics instead of the other way around. And they're reading their politics and their scripture. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not above anybody. If
short
a candidate,
people. You're above short people.
If a candidate came up and they were like, listen, here's my plan and it checks out and I'm going to reduce the cost of everything by 75%. Everything is going to be more affordable. Car parts, gas, food, clothes, camping, burritos, all of the things that are way too expensive right now. I would probably be like, oh man, I got to get out. I got to get out to vote for this guy. If you could do, because I want that. I would love for things to be cheaper. So I'm not above going and voting for somebody who's appealing to me personally, strictly on the basis of comfort. The thing is that I don't believe them. And nobody's ever actually showed me anything that does check out. When everybody has this economic plan, I go, yeah, maybe that works, but I can poke holes in it, and I never went to college. If I can poke holes in it, then it's probably not going to work. And in addition to that, I do believe, like you said, say we're ambassadors from a foreign kingdom, from a utopian foreign kingdom of God, right? I don't know what our role is as foreigners, as sojourners, as people from another world. I don't know what our role is to vote and determine the outcome of this nation. Now, I understand we're supposed to pray for the good of the nation. We're supposed to show people a better way. I totally understand that, but I just don't know how much it's our business, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's like, I don't want to be somebody who's like just giving up and quitting. But at the same time, sometimes when I really think it through, I'm like, I don't know how much in a biblical narrative people really contributed to decisions made. I understand there was elder councils and all kinds of stuff, but they were always crying out to and praying to God and depending on His guidance. Sometimes even with rolling dice. You know what I mean? Actually, a lot of times, to be honest with you, 90% of the times when major decisions were made, it was literally rolling dice.
Yeah.
And when even there was wisdom, obviously.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, even when they were appointing deacons and elders, that was always a movement of God putting people in that position. Or at least it started with God. You know, it was the people put up these candidates for eldership, but it was God said Stephen is this guy, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the people were oh, we voted and it's 34 ballots because, Stephen moved the lines and unfortunately these idiots voted this way and they actually voted in the other guy. And so Stephen got it even though he had the minority vote. It wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The people put forward candidates and they said, we see these people as filling this role of deacon that just got invented. And God said, yeah, I think, after prayer and supplication, I think it's this guy. Or God didn't say, I think, obviously. I don't believe that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's to some degree, I wonder how seriously I'm supposed to take this, like you said, foreign kingdom, foreign government, seriously. I'm supposed to at least spend more time seeking its good and trying to proclaim the gospel to people than it is. Yeah.
Well, the question then gets into, well, what's good for it? Seeking good. What does that mean? What's It's hard because too, we're ambassadors of a nation that you've never seen before. Because here's the interesting thing: America doesn't know that Jesus has already conquered them. Like when the new heaven, new earth, when everything's done, whether you're preacher, whatever, when he's finally done with everything and it's new heaven, new earth, he has conquered every nation. They just don't know it. Like Russia doesn't know it, but he's like, no, one day when I come back, this is all mine. Everything's mine. So it's weird because we're ambassadors of a leader who we go, well, actually, he technically already owns your country and conquered you.
Exactly.
It just we haven't seen the reality, and there's still pockets of resistance. So it's hard because Iraq can't do that. They can't come over and say, hey, here's our ambassador, and actually he wins in the end. We go, piss off. You don't have that authority. We can say, well, actually, our guy made the planet. And
yeah.
So it's weird because it's a nation unlike any other. I'm probably going to butcher this, but see, and this isn't even going to help, I don't think. James Smith talked about, as being kingdom people, we're among the world, equal with them. We're not better, but we're distinct. So it's hard because we're among it. So we don't want policies that are going to hurt them. But then you get into, well, what policies hurt them? And then, well, should we infringe on their liberty if it's something they want to? Say they want to hurt themselves. And we're talking physical, emotional hurt. How much do you participate? And then the distinct part. But then we're also distinct. So, well, if we do want to do the good for them, do we participate like they participate? Do we vote how they vote? Or if they vote, do we vote at all? Because we are supposed to be distinct. Or are we just like, well, no, we'll do what they do and act how they act and have our hope where they have their hope, but we'll do it in a Christianized version of it.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel sometimes. It's like, well, a lot of our lives don't look that different. It's like, no, they are. I go, well, you vote how they do. You talk like they do, but you just say you don't cuss as much. You say you believe in God or maybe go to church more. So some of your academic theology in your head is different, but a lot of your actions, you're going, well, yeah, I'm doing what they do, but just a Christian version. It's like, what's a garbage band? Oh, the Apologetics. It's like them. It's like, oh, it's not that they're distinct or anything new. It's no, we're doing a Christian version of something. And that's how I feel like Christians act. We're playing a Christian version. Whereas do people look at us and go, you're that different? Because some of our Facebook pages, someone can look and go, well, your video says that liberals are idiots and I'm the reason America's wrong and I'm insane and I'm deranged. Like my mind says stupid and I'm what's wrong with our country. And they're like, well, yeah, but come to church because Jesus loves you and I love you. And he cares about you. You need to get saved. You should come. He's a God of love. It's like, well, why would I? Your video shows I'm an idiot. You say I'm stupid. You say I'm a libtard. That's the term. And it's like, and if you look at when we share those videos, we're actually acting just like a non-Christian. Like there are Democrats who share videos of how Republicans are idiots and they hate them. There are Republicans who share videos about how Democrats are dumb and they hate them. And Christians will share those same videos. I go, you're doing the same thing. You're being just as mocking.
Yeah, totally.
You're being just as condescending. You say, well, but I say in Jesus' name after, or I go to church on Sunday. I'm like, well, slapping that sticker on there versus like being so different that people go, man, that's a stink. You know how I give a shout to actually? Well, because this is a good example of me. Tyler Macaluso and James Dorman preach in the streets.
Yeah.
The pair those two have on them. Goodness, talk about distinct. They are out there where they could be mocked, judged, ridiculed. They're not getting paid for the love of mankind, for them to know the love of Jesus Christ. That to me is distinct. That to me is set apart. Like, yeah, most people don't do it. Most people don't preach to people who dislike them or are going to mock them.
And sometimes ridiculed by their team.
By their own team, by their own people. That to me, I look at those guys and I'm like, it's kind of inspiring where I'm like, dang, man, that's pretty cool. Like,
so I was talking to somebody about that actually. I want to get back to the other thing real quick, but I was talking to somebody about specifically Tyler and James street evangelizing downtown Reno. Yeah. And they said, we just got to wait and see if this is effective because remember you and I used to kind of try to do that. Yeah. And, maybe it just wasn't the time or our skill set or what, but it was not effective. As a matter of fact, it was not planting seeds. It was like scattering seeds.
We were also heretical. Something. That might have something.
Yeah, that was probably a problem too.
Yeah.
And so, to me, anytime I've seen ever since that experience and others, anytime I see street evangelism, when I watch it, I say this does not seem effective. But again, that's me watching something through my own perspective, with my presuppositions, with my pain and hurt and all of that from the past. So I don't know. So somebody told me, we just need to wait and see. And if this is effective, we need to throw all of our support behind it. If this is truly more effective than whatever we're doing to bring the gospel to the people, then if it's effective, we should do it. We should just do what's effective, which kind of brings me back to the last point. When I think of like characters in the Bible that are exiles, ambassadors of a foreign kingdom, like you're talking about, I think of like, the exile to Chaldea and Babylon, like Daniel and Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego, Ezra and Nehemiah. Those guys are all out there, prominent figures kind of in society, but not one of them is campaigning. Not one of them is saying, hey, like Daniel was never like, hey, this Nebuchadnezzar guy is a total heretic. We need to get him out of here, blah, blah, blah. And I know like a monarchy wasn't like a democracy where you could do that, but I'm just saying like they were never speaking ill of it. And they were never even necessarily speaking up about a lot of things. But when it came to them sacrificing their own values, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, they defied them then.
They defied those things, even unto death, right? Mm-hmm. And you think of Ezra and Nehemiah, like those dudes were so appreciated by the pagan rulers that the pagan rulers were like, yeah, we'll give you all the money you need to go rebuild your city.
Nehemiah's guy liked him, it seems.
Yeah, Nehemiah guys, he was like, what's wrong, Nehemiah? It was like, you're the king. Like, he signs it. I think it was Artaxerxes or something. He's like, oh, from the king of kings, Artaxerxes. Hey, buddy, Nehemiah, what's wrong, man? Why are you so sad? And Nehemiah's like, I'm just sad about this city. And he's like, oh, what can I do to make you feel better? It's like, that does not sound like the common evangelical Christian campaign nowadays. And the reason like why I couldn't even say libertarian-ish for myself is because biblically I see liberty is something as a Christian you give up. It's not something you protect. It's something like that you give away. Like you give up your liberty for other people. And I think that that's kind of how you see those figures in the Bible doing it. I don't know if they're necessarily supposed to be an allegory for how we survive in this society or not, but I do know that, like, yeah, I've never seen anybody say, oh, this guy sucks. I mean, the closest example you could think of was like John the Baptist being critical of Herod for being a perv.
When he rebuked him for being a perv.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Even that I don't necessarily see as like campaigning for the other guy or trying to overthrow the kingdom. It's more just him being critical, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think so. A few things. So, I was trying to look him up. So there's a guy, Lamont English, I'm friends with on Facebook, which, hey, if you ever listen, man, congratulations. He's having another kid.
Nice.
I want to say he's Presbyterian. Oh, there I found him. Presbyterian. Let me see. So he does street evangelism. And I don't have a problem with looking if something works, but I don't think we should base our theology necessarily on what's practical or, just results, because sometimes then you get into this performance and different things. You've seen it with preaching or like seeker-friendly churches. But here's the crazy thing. Almost every week he goes, this guy was interested. We had discussion. He called me back and I got to pray with him and he listened to the whole gospel and was coming to church. Like almost every week. So I look at that and go, okay, because I've seen it done wrong. You and I have seen it done wrong. I've seen it just fail, be worthless. And the dude hands out tracts, but they're tracts he got from someone else. So here's the weird thing. I've seen tracts that were terrible. Tracts. Yeah, not those. I've seen tracts where I'm like, this is bad. Like not just terribly written, like the plot goes nowhere, but it's just, it's terrible. This dude though, Lamont English, all the time, people going, I want to hear about this. And some of them come to church. One or two got saved, like on the spot. And you go, well, so I wonder how much, instead of like what's practical, go, well, is it true? Is it fruitful? What's the heart? He's very loving, like James and Tyler, because James and Tyler really do care about the lost. They're good dudes. There's that. And the fact of this. All right. The tract thing. I'm okay with street evangelism. Never in a million years would I have thought tracts work. I go, no, come on. Those are so dumb. And yet there are stories of some people who go, actually, that's how I became a Christian. And I go, from a tract? No, you're joking. But they did. And then there's some people who handed them out and put their number on, and the person calls and comes to church. So I don't think they're ineffective. I don't know if I would tell everyone, hey, everyone needs to immediately go do that, based on the culture. But when I see two guys like Tyler and James who are gifted in that and that good heart, I would say this, look, even if you don't have people getting saved every night, worst case scenario, there are people in love speaking these words of truth and authority as they walk by. So, I mean, I don't know. And this come from me, man. I was not convinced. Like, when they first said street preaching, I said, oh man, you got cojones. But then when I hear about tracts, I kind of go, oh man, those are so lame. But there are people nowadays who are trying to write different ones and different stuff. Like even ones that ask questions like, in your heart, what do you feel is your purpose and how do you define purpose? Or you believe in a moral system. Why do you care about a moral system or ethical and it's questions where I go, actually, those are decent questions. And it'll even have stuff like you can call me or I can pray with you or I love you where it's a full thing. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to go out and do it, but I've definitely seen some people do it in a positive, fruitful way. And they were less concerned with numbers and more about they felt it was a calling and conviction of no, like I just need to speak my heart. And this Lamont English guy, no joke, he's handed out tracts. And when I first started following him, I go, come on, man. Like, no joke. I was like, but then he showed some of them and they were different writing where I went, actually, those are good questions.
Could you imagine actually a tract written by Jonathan Hickman?
Oh, dude.
Penned by Ribic. What's his name?
Assad
Ribic.
Goodness. That would have so
that would be
many.
so sweet.
Dude,
just imagine like a doom world redeemed by Christ in the end.
It's 50 chapters long, somehow has metaphors to plants and rebirth. Lots of characters die.
Oh my gosh. And hilarious.
It has to be big picture. There has to be multiple new languages that don't, dude, he would do so much.
What if a tract was only a small thing too? Like part of a series. So
there was crossover tracks.
Yeah, and you got like issue 4 of this tract, and you're like, I need to know what happens before and after this. How sick would that be?
They're like, was that the real Jesus, or was that the version in 270 AD who they think might have caused it?
Was that the LMD Jesus or real?
Dude, he's so good.
And when did Jesus go to the moon? And the Watchers were there. So literally, though, I want to appeal to Jonathan Hickman and Assad Ribic. Please, can you illustrate our tract for Tales from the Ditch? I know you listen to this podcast.
Yeah. What up, Hick? H-Dog.
We'll give all our Patreon dollars to you. Every single
That's true.
dollar.
You know what the funny thing is? So Maverick has a new Bible. So he has 3 Bibles. He has the Jesus story one, which I like. He has a new one called, it's the, just story Bible, I think. The guy who does the art is an ex-artist from Marvel.
Really?
And he became a Christian. So it does it more in like this narrative story. But dude, I've read comics with his artwork. I'll have to look it up what his name is, but Maverick has it. So it has less words, but shows it in Marvel artwork.
Dude,
and
that's
Samson,
awesome.
I looked at the drawing and I go, and it clicked with me. I went, where have I seen that by? So I go, you used your artwork from Hercules for Samson. Cause I did.
Nice.
I looked at it and I went, wait, no, that body type, even the pose, I went, you drew for Hercules. And I looked at him and I found the old issue and Hercules is posing, same 6-pack, same. And I go, it is. So they do recycle some of this stuff, but it was stuff where there was one guy, I looked and I was like, that was from Quicksilver and Uncanny X-Men. And I saw it, but it was dope because Maverick goes, this is really good art. He goes, Paul looks broken.
Yeah.
Because Paul's like weeping over people who are lost. And Maverick goes, I didn't know he cared that much, but it was through the visual. So yeah, Maverick has a Marvel Bible. That's how heretical I am at this
awesome.
point.
No, that's great.
It's good. If you guys find it, it's not expensive.
I remember I saw like a manga Acts or something like that a long time ago. Yeah.
They look good?
I don't really like it.
Is it manga or manga? Bahamut.
Bahamut.
Saphira
Rock.
I'm going to call the Meteor. I'm going to stop the Meteor with the Bahamut.
From hitting the Earth.
Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm Tifa. Are you or are you Tifa? Yeah.
Hey, can I actually tell you a weird situation I had the other day?
Is it about boners?
No.
Okay. What?
Well, not totally about boners. So, I unlocked part of my mind, actually. I had this weird day, and it was a good day, I guess. And I was going camping, and or not camping. I was doing like a solitude time where it was just me. So I was kind of camping. I was kind of just like hanging out, and I was just kind of like going over things in my mind, and I had actually been praying. I was like, God, can like you like help with some of this trauma? Help me to like resolve some of this trauma. I've been praying that for years now. But anyways, so I was thinking about some of the times when I was the most angry and passionate, and I thought of a bunch of times. But anyways, so I on Instagram, a memory came up, and it was a Tales from the Ditch memory about an episode we did, and I listened to part of it, and I was like, God, I hate my stupid Muppet voice. But it was about, we talked about that time I broke that one kid's nose at outside of Smith's.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, this crazy thing happened. I was all, oh, Derek, I remember when I broke his nose and da-da-da-da. And then I was thinking, I was like, oh yeah, Derek, I actually went to elementary school with. Have I ever told you that?
We went to elementary with Derek?
Well, you didn't. This was first grade.
Okay.
So it was before you came, it was before we met.
Okay.
But he went to Lena Juniper in first grade with me. He was in my first grade class, and I liked him. I thought he was a funny kid, and I liked to hang out with him. And I was like, gosh, how did I always leave that part out of the story? Like, I've known this kid for a long time. So first grade, here's the crazy thing. We're in first grade, right? And the teacher, Miss Medford and Miss Bauman, we had two teachers because we had 45 kids in the class. And they were talking about some type of anatomy thing, how your eyeball works. And they were saying, and this was incorrect, but they taught us that as you're looking out of your eyeball, the image is actually upside down because of the way your eyeball lens is, right? Oh. But your brain flips it so that you can understand it or whatever, which is true. But they said what happens is each like frame that goes into your eye, your brain flips it before you can register it or something like that. They said it happens so fast you can't tell. Yeah. So I was going like this in the classroom. I was like turning my head really quick, like to the left, to the right, so that I could try to catch it. I just wanted to see a split second of the image being upside down, and I couldn't. And Derek, that little bastard, Derek starts laughing and like laughing really hard. And then I'm like, what? And he goes, you're such a dork. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to see it. He goes, I know it's not going to work, idiot. You're such a dork. And the teacher comes over, Miss Bauman, and she says, think something's real funny, huh, Sean? And I was like, I'm not the one that's laughing. She goes, are you trying to tell me how to do my job? She like instantly got defensive. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm just saying. He was laughing. I was following along with what you were saying. I was listening to the lesson, and I thought it was interesting, and I was trying to experiment. And she goes, no. She goes, I'm tired, never taken, you need to go to detention. It was the first detention I ever got, I remember.
But not the last. Yes.
Not the last. This was the start. This was like a major life map event that I didn't realize. So anyways, that was it. So he got me in trouble, and I went back to him like the next day or that day or something, and I said, dude, why didn't you like stick up for me there? You know it was you who started laughing. And I was legitimately trying to pay attention to this lesson. And he was just like, hey, it's just how the dice rolls or something like that. He's like, that's how it is. And I was like, I was never friends with him again after that. But so anyways, that was, let's see, 7 years before I got in this fight with him outside of Smith's. Yeah. And he went to a different school. I didn't see him until middle school. And then I saw him in middle school and kind of like gave him the nod, but never really said anything because I was still mad about that. Yeah. And then outside of Smith's, he started pushing my friend Willie. My girlfriend was like telling Mitch to come help me and stuff.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Mitch, by the way. Man, that's a bummer. Anyways, I remembered the other day when I was in solitude that it was with full anger, like repressed anger from first grade, that I had this beast mode that happened. Because I think, like, I was blaming my girlfriend at the time for, like, saying, help him, Mitch, help him.
Yeah.
But actually, I think I was fighting pretty poorly until something triggered in my mind that I remembered him getting me in trouble in first grade, and I just went full on bloodlust.
Lost your yeah.
I did, and I started going crazy, and I ended up breaking his nose, and my hands were covered with his blood, and it was the best feeling I've ever had in my life. And the thing is,
like an orgasm.
it was great, but I had no idea. I just like remembered it as this thing because we did a lot of drugs and I lost a lot of my brain cells. But I had no idea. It never even occurred to me that all of this that happened in 7th grade actually had a lot to do with what happened in 1st grade. And so I started to think, what are some other areas of my life where that is true?
Yeah.
And I've come up with a few, but we don't have time to talk about it. But anyways, isn't that crazy? I never thought to mention that before.
You're not my real dad, Sean. No, I think
find that weird.
Well, you don't. All right, this is gonna sound lame, but you don't know what you don't know. Like when there's stuff that is so deep in there, there's so many people who like go, no, I don't have an issue with my family, and then they start talk about stuff and they go, oh, I'm actually really bitter and pissed.
Yeah, totally.
And you go, oh, I was thinking about the fact that at church, when they asked me who messed with the fire extinguisher, I did not rat you out. And that was even at 12. I was like, no, you don't rat. Which brings me to Kashi 69. At 12, I had more integrity than you, sir. I had a man of the cloth asking me who messed with the fire extinguisher. I was all, nope, not gonna say it. At church. You seriously? I mean, Cardi B, I don't like her music, but seriously, man, she's just at home getting cheated on and you're ratting her out about the Bloods.
Seriously.
No, I really think a lot of people don't have a lot of self-awareness or they don't want it. And to be honest, I get it. Like, who wants to remember painful things? Who wants to really sit down and go, oh, how screwed up was my life? So they just keep going and chasing things and chasing money and, you know, all the generic, you know, stereotypical things. And then they realize one day, they go, man, why did I snap when this person said this one thing? Why did that make me so defensive? Like, and they even say stuff like this, like, well, you're always criticizing me or you will always think I'm wrong. And you go, wait, whoa. I've known you like a month, and it's because what they're bringing up is something from 9 years old in the kitchen.
Yep.
It's something where dad smacked mom at the dinner table and they just don't. There's that book called The Body Keeps Score.
Never read it.
No, I haven't either. But it talks about stuff of like you can repress it all you want, but your body and your soul remembers it.
It knows it. Yeah.
It knows.
And it comes out at weird moments like that.
I'm just glad I have none of that, and I've never.
Yeah, it's so
snapped
good you
at
have no
people.
trauma and never have been an emotional wreck.
Never snapped at people. My wife's like, "Can you pass the orange juice?" I'm like, "Oh, you're leaving me, huh?" She's like, "What?" No, I just think it's a ignorance because people just really don't know, and some of them I think have an inkling, like they go, "Okay, I know I'm haunted," but they just kind of ignore it. Go, no. They push it down. They go, "Nope." Brush it off and just kind of turn the other way and feel like if I do it enough years, I've seen friends from the military do this. They kind of, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's lingering there where they know there's something about to explode. But I wonder if there's a part of them that really is scared of like, I can't talk about it. I have a friend who, watched his friend, in a brutal way die in front of him in Iraq, like in front of him. And he was supposed to be in the same vehicle. He doesn't want to talk about it. And you know what? Yeah. Look, I think it'd be healthy for him. Do I judge him really though? That he doesn't want to have nightmares again about it? No, I'm not. I think you just don't know. There's stuff I've talked about now where I go, I'm like, actually that really hurt. I'm like, wow, that was really bad. I didn't even, I didn't think about it. You know, I've said stuff. I remember I said, what was it? I told someone, oh yeah, well I've buried like 11 or 12 of my friends. And they looked at me like, what? And I go, well, yeah, it's life. They go, I've buried 2 of my friends. I go, well.
Yeah.
Because to me, you know, I rather tell a joke. I rather be sarcastic. I rather be cynical. I don't want to deal with pain. I don't want to say, well, I don't know. I didn't always feel loved, or yeah, this family member punched another family member, or well, I don't know. I didn't really know the guy died pretty young, or yeah, this friend of mine got shot by the cops. It's like I don't want to talk about that. So no, that's so interesting with him though. I think you told me he was in school with you. You never told me this story though.
Yeah.
like any
Isn't
of
that
that.
weird?
That's
Just came up.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more hilarious, dramatic,
Hilarious.
terrible stories to show
I
up.
know there's a kid in 6th grade who, at the end of it, I hit him like 30 times. We just grabbed each other by his shirt. And I remember it was his mom who said creepy things to me.
Yep, I remember that.
I mean, did that play into it? I think so. Because I couldn't fight her. But I remember I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but I feel like I hit him a lot. I feel like it went on for like a long time where I was just swinging.
Yeah.
But
Those fights, people didn't break those up.
no.
They waited
not
for the
at
duty
all.
teacher to come over.
But
and
you
come
throw one freaking boomerang and you're Johnny Boomerang the rest of the year. But
this is just the funniest story that's ever happened to me in real life. I don't know if I've told this story before or not, but I
Speak
was
your
at a
truth.
diversity training at work
yeah.
because they said, hey, Sean, you have to do this diversity training, right?
Yeah.
For some reason. I don't know why. And so it was literally like the Diversity Day episode of The Office, where the guy who was leading it was by far the most racist person in the room. And he was just saying, let's just shout out some stereotypes right now. Let's just go around
Sean's
the room.
all, oh boy, my turn. Oh, yeah.
I know. And I was like scared. Anyway, so it goes around and people are saying terrible things. And I'm like, I'm not learning anything from this. And
Taking
people,
notes.
I actually even feel bad about repeating some of the things people said, but it's the common stereotypes about everybody. You know, somebody brought up Mexicans and somebody brought up African Americans. Somebody brought up Native Americans. Somebody brought up Chinese and Asians and didn't know the difference between the two. And it was interesting. So then this lady stands up and she goes, hey, I got one that nobody said before because the room was running a little low because we'd exhausted everything. Yeah. She goes, how about this one? Blondes are dumb. And the guy goes, oh, good point. And then this blonde lady stands up and she goes, oh, I have one. Blondes are dumb. And at that point,
sometimes life just plays itself out.
At that point, I wanted to say something, but I couldn't. And so I just stood up and walked out. And all of a sudden, the room was full, like the room got hotter all of a sudden. And you look around and everybody's like holding their breath in and their cheeks are blown out and their like faces are red, trying not to laugh. And needless to say, I didn't get the credit and I had to do it again a year later. It was terribly unfortunate.
Wait, why did you not get the credit?
Because I walked out of there. I couldn't handle it. It was just not, I was not learning anything. And I got to skip this part where you put blindfolds on and put your hands on the person in front of you's shoulders and walk around without hitting things, which I didn't think was helpful either.
Here's the thing though. So dumb.
Those funny.
Those trainings, I've only done one that was good, and it was from a lady from our church from downtown Reno. And
really?
hers, I actually was like, oh, that was really interesting, but she was engaging the whole time. It wasn't like,
was it a work thing or?
Yeah, it was a work thing. But
really?
she was in charge of our diversity at some point. I don't know if she still is,
wow.
but she's at downtown Reno. Super, just brilliant lady. I think like mid-40s. But, yeah, that was good, but it wasn't like, hey, who here hits Polish people? Hey, I got one. They said, hey, we're going to go to the sun, but get this, we'll do it at night. You know, because Polish people are dumb by no measurement, and there's no evidence of this. And why did we just pick them when they've literally attacked no one?
Yeah.
They've attacked
what is that from, the Polish people?
Well, no, if you think of it, who have they hurt? They're like, what have they done that's wrong? And it's like, well, but, they exist. The Nazis invaded them, and they love America. They love America. Do you know they have streets named after our presidents?
Really?
And they have a Cowboy Day.
Dude.
In honor of America.
I still
like
don't get
us.
that joke.
So what's the joke? They're all, we really like America, we're respectful to them, we're all dumb.
We knew a Polish guy, Josh Schrock. He's been on the show.
Josh Schrock is Polish. I knew a guy, Tomasz like, how do you say it? Anyway, tough fighter.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Josh, big guy, wrestler.
Yeah, and the nicest guy in the world. To make fun of.
And a smart guy.
They're like, those Bulgarians. I'm all, I really don't. And I don't feel like you do either. I don't have a beef with them. Oh, no, you know how they are. I'm all, about what?
With
what
all the people to make fun of, too. They picked the Polish. I don't get it.
There was a special where they were talking about, they said, it's crazy that our visa wait is longer than someone from France. They said it's almost like they're punishing us for too many of us wanting to come over, because they were talking about that a lot of their family members, when they came back, had to have positive experience statistically in America. They said, we started a business. It's a great country.
Yeah.
So Poland wants to come over, and because so many want to come over, we've lengthened their visa wait. But France, they don't want to come over, so we've given them a short visa. And I go, let the Polish people come. They're starting businesses. Like, it just is, they had dudes walking around cowboy hats, and they're all, A-OK America, and they're like hugging. And
dude, that's crazy.
They're like, Ronald Reagan, good guy. They go, World War II. They go, our heroes. I'm all, yeah, what a bunch of jerks thanking us and naming things after us. I'm like,
of all the people, how come there's not more white South African jokes? Or Vatican City jokes.
And
there could be a ton of.
And do you know how many white South African rappers there are who are racist as hell?
Yeah, seriously.
Stupid things. It just, Vatican. Oh, don't give me Pope C. I'm coming for you. So, I shout out to Mark Dever, who couldn't make it, and Emilio Estevez, who longtime fan, and Marco Rubio, who said he would bring some brews, but classic Rubio didn't show up.
Also our friends who are street evangelizers.
Yeah, James and Tyler.
I was going to say Kirk Cameron and Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort. Ray Comfort has a decent mustache. You know what's funny though? That's another example that I think they are not like me, but I really think those guys like non-Christians. People give them flack. I really think they do more than I do, but I'm going to make fun of them. I mean, James and Tyler at least are pretty cool, but Ray, I don't know. Ray just reminds me of my dad, the way he dresses, Ray Comfort. It's like, I get it. You're a dad, but I'm kind of like, you can wear longer
has those
pants.
Documentaries. He has a couple documentaries out. And I'm like, this is like a dad editing a DVD from their family vacation.
So,
it's funny. But yeah,
is he Australian?
Serious. I don't know. He's
the Bible says
not
that.
I think he's just British, right? Or no?
What if it turns out he's just from Kentucky? He goes, oh no, I just like talking to the accent. I feel like it works better. We're all, what?
I get it. Every time I watch Green Street Hooligans.
If I can get Kirk Cameron to cuss, that'd be a great.
But yeah, serious. Shout out to James and Tyler, who are doing a great job of street evangelism, which is something that I wouldn't dare try again.
How do you get your shorts on in the morning
Reno
with a pair that big?
Yeah, exactly. Gosh. So good job. They're also going to, I mean, we talk about downtown Reno like it's that bad, but they've been to one of the worst places in the world that I could imagine.
A Nickelback concert?
No.
What is it?
Even worse. I mean, this place just is like an overflowing clogged toilet.
Hive of villainy, of scum and villainy.
It is just like one of the worst places in the world, the Sparks Marina. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's dangerous. That's hazard.
People say that they're all liars and gluttons, and it's true. That saying is true.
They're like, I mean, gluttons. It's like, Papua New Guinea.
That's where Cretan comes from, Cretia.
Is pretty bad. Crete. Yeah, I know.
Well, Crete. Is it Crete or Cretia?
Yeah, you're a Cretan.
Now
it's Crete.
I'm all Cretia when I'm mocking them for being dumb. Look, Cretia, get over here.
Oh, I have one more story to tell, and then I'll close us out. This one time.
Anyway, how do you want to close this out, man?
So this has been Tales from the Ditch. Just Sean and it's a Sean and Seth special. Gosh, I can't even say my own name. Sean and Seth special coming at you. End of 2019, about to end a decade.
It's October already. That's crazy.
We would like to hear your feedback, questions, or comments. We always love the supportive ones that we get. And Seth always ignores the questions that we get.
Yeah.
And but you can email us at talesfromtheditch@gmail.com. You can download podcasts at talesfromtheditch.download or any podcast thing. And we have a Patreon. So if you feel like supporting us, which some of you have, which we appreciate, you can head to Patreon.
Good old Judah Iscariot
/ Tales from the Ditch. And maybe if you supported us, we could quit our jobs and Seth could finally write his novel.
Oh my gosh. Huh, that'd be dope.
Wouldn't
That'd
that
be pretty
sweet?
cool.
But we're
It's
a
2
long
pages
ways
long.
off. That's your Patreon.
It was the
probably.
best of times, it was the worst of times.
That was it. Yeah. But seriously, if Hickman and Ribic would write a tract, we would give them all of our donations. So you could mark your donations as towards Hickman and Ribic. Or if you want to support any of the other people or things that we ever mention, send us an email and we'll let you know how.
That's right.
And that's it.
All right. So, zip it up.
Zip it out.
Take that, man.